Hello, lovelies, and thank you for joining us. I am Luna Bloomer, the founder of Vegan Bloomers, and our star guest we have today is the lovely Maeve. Welcome, Maeve.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. So let's begin with where you're based, how old you are, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm based in Dublin. I was born in Dublin on the north side of Dublin. And I lived abroad for a while, moved back here 4 years ago with my she's now 8, my daughter, and my partner who is French. And I'm 40 years old. I work as a special needs assistant in a special needs school, which I love. I've been doing that for pretty much since I got back from living abroad. I've been there for about four years working as a special needs assistant. I'm also kind of a musician. I myself and my partner write songs and I sing, and that's kind of more of a hobby, which I love. And yeah, I Dublin.
Amazing. So where did you live before?
I lived in Vietnam. I lived in Saigon.
Nice.
I was living there for the best part of 8 years. So,
wow. What took you to Vietnam?
There's a lady in Ireland, an amazing woman called Christina Noble, and she has a foundation over there, kind of all around the southern Vietnam. She opened up sponsorship programs for children to have free education, medical centers in deprived areas, a medical center in Saigon for children with special needs, and loads of things. She's amazing, and her main office is based in Dublin. So I was working in the Dublin office, and a position came up in Vietnam in 2010 as a volunteer coordinator. So I was like, can I go?
Sounds incredible.
And then just stayed, because it's very hard to leave when you're there. It's very hard.
So
yeah, it was a fabulous experience.
Yeah, sounds it. So what kind of songs do you write? What's your genre?
Oh God, it changes all the time. When we were in Vietnam, actually, we were making quite a living out of music, and at that time we were playing quite folky, souls, that kind of stuff. He plays guitar, but at the moment he's all into electronic production and stuff like that. Like he's making loads of music on the computer. I have no idea how that works. I let him do all that. So he'll find a nice beat and sample, and I'm singing over stuff now, which is a bit more kind of more neo soul, electronic kind of stuff. Yeah, I just
Sounds
go
fun.
At the moment, it's very much a hobby, whereas before we were actually playing for, to make money, which was cool. But, sometimes when things become a job, it loses a bit of the joy. So we took a break for a while from it. So it's really cool to get back into doing something very different.
Yeah.
And not making money out of it. I kind of prefer that, just for
fun. Do you like perform locally, or have you got like a YouTube channel so we can watch?
No, not at all. Well, I have a few songs on YouTube. You can check out Woman of Love by the Freckled Gypsies.
Okay.
Woman of Love or Half Moon. Our name was the Freckled Gypsies, but we're not really going by any name anymore. So what we're doing at the moment is building up a few tracks, and then we'll see what we do with them.
Oh, how exciting.
But we're busy with life. Like, we've jobs and we've a child, and like it's a hobby that we get to when we can.
Yeah, of course. No, that's totally understandable. So let's talk about little kids. Let's talk about your vegan journey. So when was it that you went vegan, and what was it that got you there?
Well, so I've thought about this question, and I think I've always been vegan, and I think in my mentality. So like I really have, like when I think back to when I was a child, like I always had a vegan mentality. So I think I've always been vegan in my heart, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like when I was a child, I always had a real sensitivity towards animals. Like my neighbors would be drowning snails and I'd be crying, and I'd like, but that's boy stuff. That's boy play, do you know what I mean? But it would really affect me. And I used to play with worms and slugs, and I always had that in me. But obviously, like most of us, we are subconsciously being given meat and we don't even know what that is. So like, and I'm not putting any blame on anyone. That's the way our societies were formed. And, you know, I'm from Ireland. It used to be quite a poor country. So, you know, people ate what they could eat, and there's no judgment there. So like but like when I realized what it was, I remember always kind of like, I could never eat like lamb, for example, when I was a child, because I knew, okay, that name lamb, I knew what that was. Whereas beef and all that, I was kind of, you know, I didn't, it was in my subconscious. So then I remember when I was a teenager asking my dad, like saying I didn't want to eat meat anymore. And he was kind of like, you know, two busy parents, like, okay, well, if you want to cook for yourself, but I'm not making special kind of meals for you. Do you know what I mean? And then, you know, time goes on, you just push it in the back. You just kept pushing it. I'd always just, okay, I knew it, but push it in the back, get on with life, be distracted, all that kind of stuff. And when I was around 23, I think I was, I had spent a bit of time in Spain, and we were doing this Camino walk through the north of Spain, and a lot of it was walking through farms, and the cows were so beautiful. And I remember having this real like moment of like, I could never hurt one of these animals. I could never hurt one of them. Like, I just want to hug them. They're just so beautiful, you know? And I think it was a while later that I stopped eating meat, but I continued eating fish. So I was pescatarian. I was still eating dairy. I didn't know anything about the dairy industry. I had no idea. I had no idea that like baby cows were taken, or like, I didn't know any of that. So I was pretty ignorant to that, but I knew I didn't really want to eat meat anymore. So I was pescatarian then from around age 23, I would say. And I continued on with that for years. And when I was in Vietnam, it was actually funny. It was probably easier to not eat meat in Vietnam, because you've way more choice of food. Like, Ireland is quite it's much better now. But when I was in my early 20s, the food was quite basic. Like, unless you had loads of money to eat out in fancy restaurants, you know, like you weren't eating like this lovely array of different flavors and stuff like that. Whereas in Vietnam, you could really like loads of different dishes. You just didn't add meat, but I was eating eggs and stuff, and I was eating seafood. But there were loads in Vietnam because of Buddhist culture. There were a good few vegetarian restaurants. Yeah, like, I mean, there's a huge portion of Buddhist culture that doesn't touch meat, you know, and there's very low dairy culture over there as well. Dairy is being bought in more by the West over there. But traditionally it was always soy, even soy milk. Do you know what I mean? So it was quite like easy for me not to eat meat over there. And looking back, I wish I had gone vegan over there, but because I didn't cook, and like I couldn't cook. I used to go into the supermarkets in Vietnam and just be like, what is this? Like, I didn't know what this was. I was, you know, if I went into a supermarket now, I'd like have my head screwed on, like, okay, that vegetable, this, I was clued, like, I didn't cook. I wasn't cooking at all. You could eat so cheap over there, like street food. And
it's nice.
So, but looking back, I could easily have become vegan over there, like easily. Do you know what I mean? Tofu, like they cook it in 10 different ways and it's amazing. Whereas I was eating tofu over here before I left, it was just rubber. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one knew how to cook it. No one. So I had my daughter over there, and my cat was pregnant at the same time that I was pregnant. And so it's just this house full of babies and kittens everywhere. But I watched her, she gave birth on our bed when we were waking up between me and my partner. She was giving birth, like she didn't go into a dark corner or something, you know, she really did it with us on the bed.
Aww.
So I could see everything and I was so proud of her. And I remember thinking like, and then after that, I saw how protective she was of her kittens and what a mother she was. And I was pregnant, so all my hormones are like all over the place. And I'm like, oh my God, she's an amazing mother. I want to be just like her. Do you know what I mean? It's hilarious. Like, but yeah, like she was so protective. Like friends were coming over to see the kittens and we'd take them out of the box and she'd come running in, grab them by the neck, back upstairs, you know, we're like, don't touch my kids, you know. And we couldn't give any of them away. And anyway, that's another story. But anyway, so I had Mila, and I remember thinking what I felt for her was so primal and animalistic, exactly what my cat had felt for her kittens. There was no intellect in it. It was just this pure,
love.
Yeah, exactly. The definition of love. It's animalistic. It's not, there is no concept. Do you know what I mean? Animals feel that exactly the way a new human mother feels that, you know. So I started then thinking more about like, I still didn't know about the dairy industry. I still didn't understand. I didn't know about the calves. And so then when I came back to Ireland, which was 4 years later, I think something came up somewhere. Like there was something that came up. I think people were doing veganuary or something. So there was stuff coming up on my Facebook. And I always thought, oh, vegan is so extreme. Like, God, I couldn't give up my chocolate and my cheese, and like cheese, you know. So I checked it out, and I probably went onto the veganuary page and saw some kind of dairy truth video, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Like in Vietnam, I wasn't really so much connected with the Western world, if you know what I mean. Like I had internet and stuff, but I wasn't on Instagram. I only had Facebook. And, you know, I just wasn't a part of all that. And when I came back, it was this sudden like influx of information about stuff that was going on in the world. And I was shocked by the dairy industry, but I kept going back in my head to like the cow and the calf, and my cat and her kittens, and me and my baby. It was this motherly thing, like, this is so wrong. This is so wrong, you know? So I straight away was like, that's it, I'm done with everything. And I did veganuary in 2000. I got back from Vietnam in 2017, started veganuary to January 2018. So I've been vegan since, basically.
Wow, incredible. What an
That's
awesome
a long story there.
That's awesome. I love it. So when you did go vegan, was there anything that you like struggled to give up, or was it pretty easy?
No, it was funny. Like, I couldn't cook before. You know, my French boyfriend will tell you that. I could not cook. He was pretty much doing most of the cooking. And then when I became vegan, I just found it really exciting, because I was like, this is like a new journey for me. And like, I didn't have these amazing meaty recipes before that I'm going to miss out on. But obviously, like, ordering pizza was a bit weird. Like, I remember the first time I ordered pizza, and it was back in the day, the vegan cheese, probably the first that was ever invented, like, kind of like, oh, what's that? No, honestly, I can honestly, hand on my heart, say I never found it hard. Never.
That's incredible.
I honestly, and like, people will say like I'm full of shit, but I just found it so guilt-free. And I don't mean to pat myself in the back, because I know I'm still probably using loads of animal products that I'm not even aware of. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, oh, like, you need to feel guilty. I'm just saying, like, it was this weight off my shoulders. It was a massive weight off my shoulders. And I found the whole cooking experience really exciting. And I wasn't working at the time. I came back and I spent
that helps.
Yeah, it does. Oh my God. Like, I spent a year training to be a special needs assistant. So in that time, I had loads of time to cook, and I just loved it. I loved cooking. So yeah.
That's awesome. So
no, I never, like, I loved cheese, but I think once you get over that initial shock of no cheese, the addiction goes away very fast.
Yeah.
It goes very fast.
I agree. I kind of, like, when I first went into my vegan journey, I kind of allowed myself permission to, if I craved cheese, because I know I would, then I would just have it. And I think I only ended up having it twice. And then by the second time, I was like, I was so into it. I was like, I don't want this. I was like, I don't care whether I want it or not. It's gross, and I don't want it anymore. So yeah, I can relate.
It starts creeping into your mentality. Like,
yes.
It starts, that the psychology of it starts creeping in, and it just won't taste as nice.
Yeah. exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, and that happened. Yeah, the second time round, you just jogged the memory. The second time round, it tasted really weird, and I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because of that reason you just mentioned. So yeah, it's interesting.
Absolutely.
So when you turned vegan, how did people around you react to that?
Oh God, that was the hard part. It wasn't the food. The word drastic came up a lot. I think that was the main word people were using. That's drastic. That's very drastic. You know, are you sure you're going to be able for that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think everyone was just like, oh, that's going too far. I think people always accepted the pescatarian side. They kind of like my partner is French. So when I went to see his family and stuff, that was quite hard for them. Like, their culture is so much based around food. And in that food, it's all meat and fish and, you know, dairy. But over here, my family were really good. And I think they always understood my love for animals. They always knew that. So they weren't really surprised by it. It's just veganism at that point. I mean, in the last 5 years over here, it's just gone. It's like the Celtic Tiger over here. Ireland went from being really poor to like really rich in the space of like, well, rich, whatever, 5 years in the 90s. And veganism's done the same thing over here. It's like went from vegan, like, do they like think we just eat lettuce, to now Dublin is one of the best vegan cities probably in Europe. Like, it's deadly. It's brilliant. But that's all in the last 4 or 5 years. So when I went vegan, people thought it was drastic, but we're very welcoming, or we're very accepting of it. But definitely, I didn't love all the questions. And, you know, people always say like vegans always talk about being vegan, like, which, you know, we do get a bit of a shock when we discover the truth. So we do want to share a bit of news with people. But I found more people, meat eaters, actually outing me. Like, you know, I go into meet friends and, oh, she's vegan. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be the quiet person, like asking the waitress quietly, like, what are your vegan options? But there'd be a big announcement about it, you know. But so my mom, after then about a year, I was living with my mom at the time. When we moved back from Vietnam, we lived with her for a little bit, and she cut out all meat from her house. And
Sweet.
She was brilliant. So she doesn't really eat meat anymore. Now, she wouldn't label herself as anything. But I was really lucky. Like, she was on board with it. She understood it. She's like, I could never commit to that. But she stopped buying meat. I became a okay cook. So my boyfriend loves my food now, and he eats pretty much vegan like 90% of the time.
Brilliant.
But he doesn't label himself either, but he's pretty much disgusted by meat now. Now, that's 4 years after me becoming vegan. So like, he's now at the point where even when he works in town with millions of restaurants around, and he always goes for vegetarian, vegan options.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then my younger sister eats probably 85% vegan now. So it's had a knock-on effect. But it's not even about that, though. Like, everyone is very accepting now, and they just know there's no going back. Like, that's it. Like, you know.
That's amazing. So yeah, I remember you mentioned you've got a daughter. Is your daughter vegan?
So she's vegan at home. She's vegan. She eats everything vegan at home. But I'm not. But she's basically vegetarian outside of the home.
Okay.
I wanted her originally to be. I wanted to convert her fully to veganism, and I know that works very well for a lot of children. But my child, you know, every child is completely different, and I basically. What I found is, if I push that, she's the kind of kid, if I push something on her,
she will resist.
She'll try to rebel, and I don't want her hating veganism.
Yeah,
I'd love her to go into a vegan future. I would love her to. That would be her choice. But I don't want her as a child to resent it, because then it becomes something that she sees as an interference in her life. And if she's at a friend's house and they're all ordering pizza, and she's not allowed to have a slice from that pizza, because I can't control everyone's parents.
Yeah, of course.
She can do that, and I'm not going to give her shit for that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm really lucky in that she does eat really well for me. She's fully on board with the concept of being vegan. She understands it. She totally loves animals. And I do think that in the future she'll probably choose veganism after she does a teenager rebellion against me. Which is just real life. That's realistic. Like, we don't, like, not every child is the same, you know. No. You do read posts from people, oh, my child stood up in class and said this, and I'm like, that's not my child. Do you know what I mean?
So when you introduced the new the plant-based diet in your house, did she resist then, or was she quite on board from the start?
She resisted some of it, and I had to learn very quickly what flavors it was that she wasn't really enjoying and what she does enjoy. I really did. I had to work around. She loves now spaghetti bolognese with the, you know, it's TVP or something, the protein pieces. I never remember. Look, I'll show you. You know, these protein, it's like,
I don't think I've seen them before.
Yeah, this is
it looks like dehydrated.
If someone is ever watching this, they'll know what this is. It's there's a name. Look, I'm not going to Google it, but it's like fake. It's soy protein.
Okay.
It's hard. It's in bits, and that makes an amazing bolognese. Amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get that in any like health store. You know, when you get your grains and stuff like that in those health stores, they'll have that. Okay. Vegan, you know, and that makes a lovely bolognese. So there's things like that. I discovered quickly that she doesn't love a lot of the fake meats. And actually, she, a couple of times now since then, she's bitten into hot dogs at friends' houses. Like, she's asked her friend, can I have a bite of that? Like the real hot dogs, and absolutely hates the taste of them. So I just don't think she's actually really a sausage kind of person anyway. Like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? But no, she's on board with hummus. Dal, she loves dal. Like, she's great. No, she is great. But I did have to kind of figure it all out. That was a process, definitely.
Well, that's awesome that you did that. So obviously as a family, you all eat the same food. So I know a lot of people think that being vegan is very expensive. How do you find the expenses?
No, I don't think I spend any more on my shopping than another family of 3 would spend on their shopping. Everyone puts in extra little treats into their trolley, don't they? Whether they're vegan, not vegan, everyone puts in those extra little treats that builds up the bill at the end of it, don't they? Like, I can easily do a very cheap vegan shopping and have lovely meals every day with your lentils, your you know, your vegetables, your sauces, like all that kind of stuff. But it's the extra little treats that you just add in that make it a bit more expensive, like the chocolate bars and the biscuits. Like, they're, you know what I mean? Like, they're the things. So like, I don't think, I think once veganism it is becoming huge. I think once there's more competition between the industries, between the companies, the prices will go down for those extra things, you know what I mean? Like like tofu and stuff like that. Although you can get really good tofu now in Aldi and Lidl, like, it is becoming so much more commercialized now. It just depends on what products you want to go for. Do you want to, like, if you're a meat eater and you're eating a normal diet, if you go for all the organic, healthy stuff, you're going to be spending way more money as well. Do you know what I mean? So you can get the cheaper stuff or you can get the good organic stuff, and it all depends on your budget. And it's exactly the same. I think you can definitely eat cheaper on a vegan diet if you really go for like the real raw, like the pure stuff. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
So do you have a whole food diet yourself, or is it a bit of a mix?
It's definitely a mix. It's definitely a mix. At the beginning, I was doing quite a lot of the fake meats, and I'm over that now. I think I'm over that. Like, I did love the Denny's sausages and all that kind of stuff. I always have burgers in the freezer. I always have my little stash of, like, you know, don't feel like cooking today.
Yeah.
over it, get the burgers out kind of thing. But no, generally I'm cooking like 5 days out of a week, 5-6 days out of a week I'm cooking. And but I make lovely, I'm definitely not the kidney beans vegan. Like I love Mexican food. Like I make quesadillas, tacos, spaghetti bolognese, lasagnas. Like I'm making all that stuff, Thai curries, dal. Yeah, I do make chilies once in a while and stuff, but I don't think I'm the most bean kind of whole food vegan. I still make a lot of fried stuff, like,
Okay.
you know. I love tofu. I'm so addicted to tofu.
I love tofu.
I got an air fryer last year, and I'm telling you, anyone who says they don't like tofu, I'm just like, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what it can be. Like, it's, addicted to tofu.
There's definitely a way to cook it, isn't there?
There is a way to cook it. Now, in Vietnam, the way, like, they can make even some people hate that silk tofu, the real slimy one. The way they cook it over there is unreal. Like, and they put lemongrass and fried tofu. I really got an appreciation for it over there. And then when I came back,
I'm gonna need to go there now.
You gotta go to Asia.
Bucket list, and it is
you
now.
have to go to Southeast Asia for the tofu. Yeah, it's another level. And then you come back here, like, no one knows how to cook tofu. You know, we just didn't know how to cook it because it doesn't grow here. Do you know what I mean? But no, air fryer, firm tofu, chunks, tear it into chunks, put loads of seasoning on it, and love it.
So what's your because I know a lot of people, including myself, struggle with like making sure that their diet is a balanced one. What's your like typical weekly menu for your family?
Oh God. Well, yes. So I think I've definitely in the last year become way more conscious about that balance. My boyfriend works in a hemp company, in a hemp shop in Dublin, and he has great access to like hemp seeds and stuff like that. So I thought we were being great dumping hemp seeds into everything, and they are brilliant. They're full of nutrition. Like, they're probably one of the best seeds that you can get. But they're really high on omega-6. And then I was reading, like, you need to balance it with omega-3. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not a scientist. This is too complicated. Like, but so now on a daily basis, like in the morning, me and my daughter, because he wakes up later, but me and her going to school would have a bit of granola with, I make a little smoothie with some chia seeds in it, some hemp seeds. So chia and hemp are a good mix. They have omega-3, omega-6, like that's so that's easy for me. Once I know I'm getting that, okay, great. With a bit of fruit, banana, people watch this probably know, that's not all you need. That's not all, anyway. So then you put that on your granola, and that would be a morning start. So loads of fruit with hemp and chia seeds and granola. That would be a pretty typical morning. Nutri-Bullets are great. And then like in work, I probably have like leftover dinner from the night before. It could be a dal or it could be whatever. If not, bagel. Yeah, there are some. Ireland has a few really good companies, very small independent companies at the moment, making lovely like chicken pieces, but not in a very processed way, using real like soy or temp.
Oh, that's good.
With lovely flavors in it. So it's still very organic in a way. The Vegan Sandwich Company, big shout out. They're brilliant. They're based in Dublin. They went from a tiny little stall in a market to like supplying all the supermarkets with this
wicked
chicken pieces, and they're doing amazing. And so like I could have a bagel with that, loads of your salad and all that. And then at home, I would just cook something. So like Thai curry with fried tofu and mango in it, or
that sounds lush.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like now I've been stuck on these 4 or 5 recipes now for a while. I think I have so many vegan cookbooks. And I'm like, every week before the shopping, I'm like, right, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go through some recipes, look up some new ones, And I just don't do, I'm like, I'm so stuck. But do you know what? they're nice. It's nice food. I'm not just cooking shite every day.
Yeah.
But I do need to explore. Rachel Lama, actually, I love her cookbook. Do you know Rachel Lama?
No, I haven't heard of her.
Rachel Lama is a vegan chef, cook. I think she's based in London. She does a lot of Caribbean. I think her heritage is Jamaican, I think, and she does a lot of.
Oh, nice.
She does fusion. And her cookbook is deadly. There's a few I really love. I still love Bash. That was my first vegan cookbook ever, and I still love that. I think it's a great go-to one.
I met them.
Did you?
Yeah.
They seem really nice.
They are lovely. Yeah, they're really nice.
Cool. Wouldn't that, like, it'd be amazing if they could set up their own little cooking show?
Yeah, that would be wicked.
Because
they're so popular. I mean, I haven't had any of their dishes yet, because like you, I've got loads of recipe books and I just end up cooking the same stuff because I just can't bother to look in them and then go shopping to get what's in it. That's my thing.
I know.
But I have got a couple of their books now, but I just haven't used them. But I've heard so many good things about Bosch, like many good things.
I've never cooked something of theirs that didn't turn out like gorgeous. Like, never.
Good to know.
But like, there's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
You have to get your magnifying glass and be like, okay. It is a bit like, but then once you do it a few times, you're like, oh, that was nothing. Like, you know what I mean? They really go step by step, which I love. I need that. I don't like any confusion in the middle. I need to know exactly, do you know what I mean? But I suppose there are a lot of just natural cooks out there. I'm not one of them. You know, I do have to go. I don't. I do play it safe, but you either are or you aren't really. Do you cook a lot?
No. So I like you have I've started to go off fake meats. Like there's still a couple that I like every now and then, but for the most part I'm just not into it anymore at all. So I've kind of like stopped buying it. So I'm finding myself having, like, I have pasta quite a lot, which is something I basically never used to have, which is quite funny. But I'm a very
pasta.
Yeah.
Oh, I love pasta.
So do I. But like, for some reason, I think maybe that might be a bit of my mum's influence, because my mum hates pasta. So I didn't really have it apart from like we would have like spaghetti bolognese or like lasagna, that kind of pasta my mum used to have. But other than that, it wasn't on the menu. So I think part of that has like ingrained in me. But I actually really love pasta. So but I've started to finally cook it. But I am an experimental cooker. So I'll look in the fridge or the freezer and be like, right, what have I got? I'll just shove that all together and see what happens. But yeah, I'm kind of like relearning how to cook as a vegan.
How long are you vegan?
I've been vegan since 2018, I think. It's 3 years. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. So it's funny because as I'm listening to you, we've got so much in common. Like our journeys are very similar. It's really weird.
Wow.
And then because I went as like you, I was a very sensitive child. I remember shouting at these boys when I was little about standing on ants and just silly little things like that. And I've said to everybody, when I went vegetarian, people were like, well, she's vegetarian, but she might as well be vegan, because I was very much thinking like that. You know, I didn't wear leather, or like I was pulled by all that kind of stuff, and I was really strict with like the companies that I know test on animals.
Brilliant.
And like you too, I wouldn't eat lamb, I wouldn't eat rabbit, I wouldn't there were certain things that I made that connection that I was like, no, that's a baby and that's a pet, so I'm not going to eat that. Like it's really funny how much I had in common with you.
Absolutely. That's gas. That is gas.
Right.
So, I just like, I think so many of us, even people who eat meat today, have a vegan mentality. They do. Like, so many of us. And like, you know, when you travel to places like Vietnam, or you meet people from India, you realize there's cultures that haven't been eating meat for years. years and years. They've had this mentality. In Rastafarian culture, there's I think it's the Aita diet, or Aita, I think it is, or oh God, I'm actually showing my ignorance here, but Aita, I think it is, who believe you should never eat something dead. You should never, you know what I mean? Like this is not a new movement by any means. We've just been so centered around agriculture in the West. It's been such a massive part of an enforced diet that we have in the West. But I mean, there's been kind of non-meat eaters around for
everywhere,
centuries. So I always think back, like people always say, but we hunted, and I always wonder, like, I'm just presuming, I imagine there were people back then who absolutely hated hunting, like who really hated it. Do you know what I mean? Like, because by instinct we do have massive compassion towards animals, like massive. If you were driving along a road and you saw a lamb's paw stuck in barbed wire and it was bleeding and it was crying out, you'd stop the car, anyone would, and try and help that lamb and get it back to its mom, or find the farmer, and get a vet and go out and have a lamb curry that night. So it's the disconnect, but we're all, a lot of us have a vegan mentality. I
think so too. I think we're all born vegans and we just get warped by the world, basically. I really do believe that.
Absolutely.
So going on about, you know, how we are compassionate and everything, how would you say that being vegan has impacted your life?
Oh God. I think it's something, I think like most vegans get a bad rep saying, oh, we only care about animals. I think like most vegans, we've cared a lot about human issues as well. And I always have. And, you know, when it comes to human rights, any kind of rights, I'm right behind it, you know. But I think veganism is something that I feel I really stood out on my own and said, no, this is, and really on my own. I don't really know many other vegans. Like there aren't any, like I said, my family have cut down on meat, but there's no vegans. Do you know what I mean? It's only kind of in the last couple of years I've met a couple of other vegans or people who have gone vegan. It was something I really did on my own. And I think it really gave me, I don't know, maybe more of a backbone, just like that, you know, you can stand out on your own in a crowd and go, that I'm not doing that, you know, be the other. And it is hard. It's not like, it can be a bit lonely when you're bashing your head against a wall and you feel like no one's actually gets it. But I think that was really good for me, like for myself, for my own personal sort of like, I suppose, journey as a human, to really stand behind something on my own, not following, even though there is a huge vegan group, but on my own in terms of like where I am right now. And just really fighting for something that I really strongly believe in. Like I'd fight for children's rights, human rights, but there's tons of organizations also doing that. Whereas veganism still is such a sort of
it's a small movement.
Yeah, it's growing and stuff, but it is still quite a small movement. But I think for my own self-worth, I suppose, you know, doing this was really important. Aligning your actions with your beliefs, I think, gives you a real sense of security. Don't know if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense to me.
Yes. Yeah. When you align your actions with your beliefs. And it's funny, I was chatting to a colleague the other day and she goes, now everyone I work with eats meat and I just have to work in that environment, and look, they're lovely people and I've definitely calmed down on my judgments of people. Like, you know, when you first go vegan, I don't know about you, but you can become very like judgmental, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put yourself over here and there over here. And I don't do that anymore. I have found the soft approach works so much better, to the point where a colleague of mine said the other day, like, she's like, oh, Maeve, like, I don't think I can go into the information that you know about farming and about dairy, because I just don't think I'd be able for it to handle the information. I don't think I'd be able to. I love animals. And I actually didn't. She goes like, tell me about a bit about it. And I said, no. I said, I'm not gonna impose that on you now. We're in work, and I'm not gonna tell you the horrors of farming. That's for you to go and you find out, because I think that's more effective. Like, she needs to go on that journey herself. Like, of course I've told her like a few little things about it, but I was like, I told her a few documentaries that she could watch. And I just said, if you really feel that that you would be horrified, then maybe it is for you, giving up meat. But that's a personal journey. You need to do that yourself. And I told her the name of documentaries, and like, but it's funny, there's so many people like her who don't want to find out the information because they're scared.
Yeah, they know.
They'll have to change their life.
Deep down, yeah.
Because how do you go back when those images are in your head? How do you go back from that?
I know. That's something, like, for me personally, it blows my mind how, because I've come across a few people that are like, oh, I used to be vegan, but not anymore. But then I wonder, because I know the word vegan is kind of like, it's thrown around, like, when it's not actually the meaning.
Yeah.
So, like, because people say everything like vegan food, people just associate plant-based food with veganism now. And actually, a lot of the time, it's not. So I wonder now whether these people telling me, oh, I used to be vegan, but not anymore, actually, you weren't vegan, you just ate plant-based food, is probably what happened. Because I just can't contemplate, how can you know, and then suddenly just
switch back.
Yeah. Like,
no.
I don't get it. I don't get how that's possible.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I've seen now a lot of the new, there's, obviously there's loads of vegan groups on Facebook. That debate always comes up on the vegan groups, within the vegan groups, of that difference between plant-based and veganism. And people get really like upset about it, and people get very defensive about it. Like, no, I can call myself vegan if I want. Like, I've given up everything. I'm vegan. And I get where they're coming from. I really do. And I wouldn't be there standing over them like, you're not fucking vegan. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like saying you're Catholic when you're just actually Christian or something.
Yeah.
And you don't actually practice Catholicism, but you're a Christian. Now, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not actually religious myself, but like, no, veganism is a philosophy purely about animals, purely about their rights and welfare. So, okay, you gave up eating everything. Are you checking that your shampoo is cruelty free? Are you checking that do you know what I mean? Like, it's everything. It's not just the food is one factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think if you're truly vegan, you just can't go back. Like, you can't. No. So I love when I see people posting, they're like, oh, I went, I gave up 30 years ago. I'm vegan 30 years. And I'm just like, fucking.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it?
It's just, I love people like that. The real grassroots people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I met a man that had went vegan over the Holocaust once. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, that's fucking incredible that you did that through that. And now, obviously, because he grew up in that, he now is an activist, and he compares it to the Holocaust, veganism, like what goes on in factory farming, the animal agriculture, to the Holocaust. And of course it pisses a lot of people off, but I think it's amazing. He's been there, and he can see the difference, the similarities. So but I can't remember his name though, which is bugging me. I'll have to find out.
Yeah, he was actually affected by the Holocaust. Is he Jewish? And yeah. Like that's a hard pill for people to swallow for obvious reasons. That is a hard pill, and I would respect anyone who says that they are offended by that, just because that's a very specific journey. That wasn't my journey. You know what I mean? And I'd be very sensitive to people's personal kind of how they're affected by those words and how they're affected by that. So but I totally understand where he's coming from. And for someone to say that is so powerful. It's extremely powerful. And like, these are just words. But when you look at the actions behind what's going on with animals, like, it's insane.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane. It's 60 billion animals a year.
I know.
Yeah, people don't know that. There's just so much information that's being hidden from us that you have to actually
look.
You have to really dig, and it's not just there for people to know. You have to dig around for it. Like the fact I dug up this information from Agriculture Ireland, a website based on agriculture, information for farmers and about farming in Ireland. So I kind of had to go to the information on the other side. And I think I looked it up last year, and I think in 2019, Ireland imported nearly 4 million tons of animal feed from South America and North America. Like 4 million tons of animal feed. So that would be for the chickens, the pigs, and a top-up feed for the cows. So everyone comes to Ireland and looks at the cows, and they live this beautiful life in the fields. Now, to be fair, their life is a lot better than cows in a lot of other countries. But they're not just grass-fed. They are being topped up with animal feed coming from America. And so are chickens, and so are pigs. I mean, we never see the pigs. They're locked up in sheds. No one asks, where's the pigs? Where are they? We can't see them.
Yep.
They're just hidden away, suffering a life of absolute misery for the first 3 years of their life before they're gassed to death. But yeah, people don't know. They don't know. The information is not there. They just have advertisements of happy cows, and pigs, are so stupid. They're dumb. They're dirty. They're this, they're that. Actually, your dog is dirtier than a pig. Do you know what I mean? But it's really, I was ignorant for a long time, and I probably was quite comfortable in my ignorance because it allowed me to continue having my fish, eating my dairy. I was that ignorant person, like, oh wow, I stopped eating meat, but just so I could get a little pat in the back for that, but I still kept on with the other shit. So it is a personal journey, and it's, the information is not there, and we're all so distracted with the phones and Netflix, and but it's good that on Netflix now people are seeing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Seaspiracy, Cowspiracy, What the Health, and all those things that I can't personally watch because it's too devastating. But I think it's great that there are people that there's access to that information.
Yeah, I mean, What the Health is like, that's an easy one to watch.
It is.
Just for people watching, that's like, that one's fine.
What the Health, and what was that one? Game Changers. Yes. That was so cool. I think that was what my boyfriend really related to, and he really cares about animals, and he totally believes in the philosophy of veganism. But Game Changers, for him, I think it was suddenly very relatable people on it.
Yeah.
Like for him. And he was kind of going, fuck, yeah, Jesus, this totally makes sense. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of men related to Game Changers.
Yeah, well, because it's, it's based on, the impact it's had on men, and how Absolutely. They're told, to be manly, you have to eat meat and all this rubbish. So, yeah, I think it was specifically made for that, because, we didn't have we didn't have male vegans, and now there's loads of them. But I'm looking back at I remember when I first went vegetarian, I had never met a vegetarian male in my life. And since I've been vegan, I've met so many male vegans. It's like unbelievable. Like I was looking at the people that I've been interviewing and the people that have volunteered, and actually I think there's more men than there are females, and I'm like blown away by that, because yeah. So I think Game Changers really.
I think the UK, I think you're winning the vegan race in the world. Like, I think, aren't you? Like the UK is like, you guys are so, like, it's just growing in massive leaps over there. It's brilliant. Like, it is brilliant.
Especially where I live. They're so, like, it's so vegan friendly where I live.
Where are you?
I live in a little town called Folkestone.
Lovely.
On the southeast coast, next to
totally
Dover.
Accepting.
Oh yeah. There's quite a lot of vegans here, and like every single restaurant is vegan friendly. They've got loads of options for us. It's awesome.
Brilliant.
Anyway, going back to let's talk about activism. Have you ever been involved in any activism on your journey?
I have joined a few animal rights protests in town.
Okay.
There was a big issue over here related to greyhound dog racing, which is a horrendous sport over here. There was a undercover documentary that was released on Irish television about 3 years ago, where they went undercover and exposed how greyhound dogs were being treated in this greyhound racing industry. And it was just horrific. I know I need to grow a bit more of a backbone. I can't watch those things. I read the details about it. I just can't watch. It affects me so deeply to watch those things. Like watching child abuse or something. I can't, like, it's anyway. So I read about it and then joined. That got a lot of Irish people's attention, in terms of, because Irish people love their dogs. I mean, the world is obsessed with dogs. The West is anyway, but so the dog route is definitely kind of one way to go about animal rights in Ireland. Unfortunately, a lot of the people protesting are not vegan or even vegetarian, but that was one of the first ones I went on, because that was quite soon after I had come back from traveling, and my daughter came with me, and we were, my sign wasn't about dog racing. It was about it was all animals rights, trying to make a bit of a point and on the vegan agenda. But and then a couple more, there were a couple of more vegan related just kind of rallies through town that I've been on. Now, I would like to get more involved in animal activism. It's definitely something I do want to get more involved in. Like I said, I'm so incredible. I'm extremely emotional. Like, I see people going to those vigils. I send emails to government bodies. I send emails to the government body, the agricultural government body over here. I've sent so many emails, no answers, no replies.
No, that's unsurprising.
Exactly, about live exports, the live exports that are happening from Ireland. We export our meat alive on ships, which has, I think, been banned in the UK, hasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, I believe it has. Yeah,
recently, and I think Ireland is still digging its heels in. See, Ireland is such a small island, so the influence in Ireland, like, in England, you would have, in the UK, you'd have influences coming from so many different sort of sides, I think. Maybe not, I don't know. But Ireland is such a small island, and it's so heavily based on agriculture as a means of income as well. So it's really hard to kind of convince these people up at the top about these things. But when you were saying about where you live, the small town where you live, like, Ireland is just coming along amazingly. Like, I went away to these tiny little towns in the west of Ireland during the summer, and there's like vegan cafes, like vegan options in most of the restaurants. It's really amazing for Ireland. Like,
Awesome,
Ireland loves their meat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know that because I remember I went there when I was vegetarian and I struggled to find stuff just as vegetarian. So
it's look, if you came now, it would be a different country for
you.
It
sounds it.
It would. It really is, and it's all young people with these really creative ideas, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. But as far as animal activism goes, I don't think I do enough. I do a lot from my keyboards. I join the animal rights walks or protests when I can. I don't know how I would deal with going to actually these vigils. I don't even talking about it. I can start like,
well, yeah,
talking about it.
That's what I'm like this conversation. I've got tears in my eyes. I don't know whether you can see it on camera, but I have
and so do I.
I don't know how people do that. And there's part of me that's like, I would like to experience it once, but I've seen so much online that actually I think it would traumatize me too much. I don't think I could. I've got a very vivid imagination, so in my brain I don't really need to see that, but I do put myself through watching the stuff because I think it's, for me, I think it's good to remind myself and actually be knowledgeable about what is still going on so I can talk about it. So I do every now and then kind of will watch stuff like that. Not often, but
no, you're right. You're right. But it's, I mean, sometimes people will put up an image of something like going on in a pig farm. That image will stay with me all day. And that's just a photo. That's not a video. Like, I don't know. I
mean, I'm like, at the moment, I'm at a point that I can't even be around meat. Like, I've actually made a pledge to myself that I'm not going to be around people that eat meat anymore because I just can't.
Wow.
Like, it upsets me too much. I mean, today I was looking through Facebook and I came across just a picture of pig carcasses like hanging, like you'd see in a butcher's, and it's made me really emotional just seeing that. It's just a picture on it, but it really pissed me off that this person did it because they did it just to annoy vegans. I've had to it's at the moment for some reason I'm so freaking sensitive to it. It's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't blame you.
I get it.
Yeah. I don't blame you at all. I think that COVID lockdown that we had was actually this lovely little haven for vegans because you didn't have to be around loads of meat anymore.
Yep.
I found it so nice. We were in our little bubble. It was all vegan food the whole lockdown. And I didn't have to, there was no restaurants open, wasn't eating around meat eaters, wasn't working. So I wasn't around any meat eaters. And it really made me a much stronger vegan. Not like you said, I'm not at the point now where I won't eat around meat eaters. I'm not, because my life just won't accommodate that at the moment.
I can, because I just left my job. I used to work with children, and I left my job. And I mean, there was a point in my job that I was getting really upset that they were, drinking dairy, having ham in their sandwiches. Like, it really upset me. But I had to force myself to dissociate, and I don't want to do that. So when I left my job, I was like, after I left my job, I went to vegan camp out, and I spent a week just eating so much vegan friendly food, and come back and I'm like, I can't anymore. I've had the luxury of not having to be around it, and now I can't go back.
Absolutely. So you have fair play for making that decision.
I mean, it's been hard, I'm fortunate that I've got a lot of supportive friends, and I do have a few vegan friends, which definitely helps, but it is hard. Like, it was a really difficult decision to make, but I just can't. And some of my friends have taken a bit, a shock to it, and I don't know that they're going to be on board with it. but I'm hoping eventually they'll just kind of get used to it. But I just can't.
No, look, it upsets you too much, so you wouldn't even be good company for the person that you're going to eat with.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be good. So there's always other ways to meet your friends where you don't have to eat in front of each other, or they can try a vegan restaurant and they can eat what they always eat, just without the meat. Do you know what I mean? Eating in a vegan restaurant is not this like alien food. It's what you're already eating this stuff. It's just cooked in a different way, and you don't have big animal flesh in the middle of it. So no, you're definitely, they'll adapt to it. They'll get used to it. Like I remember the first Christmas I cooked my own vegan food and had a big meaty table and my little vegan corner. And I think I did that in 2017 because so Veganuary was 2018 January, but I had a vegan Christmas just before it to see if I could do it. But then I think I did one more Christmas with meat, and since then there's just no chance of that ever happening again. So I will meet people after, or I'll just have my own, we'll have our own little vegan Christmas here. And it's nice because my mom and my sister are coming this year and they've no issues with a vegan Christmas, no issues at all. And, you know, I'm just not going to do that dead turkey on the table anymore, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's great. And I think I'm with you on that. Like I've definitely cut out being around meat to the best of my ability. In my job I can't, but people are very like, you know, they're like, I'm not eating in front, there's like, because we're in pods now, it's like 4 people and everyone's in their little corner eating their food, so I actually don't feel like I'm exposed.
You're away from it.
It's great. It's great.
That's awesome.
And my daughter is the only vegetarian in her class, like.
Oh really?
Or vegan vegetarian, like the only one.
Oh, bless
and
her.
she's in a real progressive, like, educate together school. I was so surprised. I was like, surely there's someone else in your class, like.
Wow. Yeah, that is a bit surprising because there's, you know, there's quite a lot of children as well that have, where I used to work in the school in year R, there was 3 vegans in the same class. Wow. So
like I said, you guys are ahead. You're ahead. You're still ahead. It'll be the next generation here, I think. But you're like I think you guys are kind of a generation ahead of us.
So when at school, do they do things like meat-free Mondays in Ireland?
Well, my daughter's school, we pack their lunch. They don't have food in the school.
Oh, okay.
So that's quite common in Ireland. Like most schools, unless it's a school that is in a certain area where they do provide lunches for kids, then that happens. But in a general school, like a general public school,
they're all having packed lunch.
I pack her lunch every day.
That's fair.
Which works because, I mean, I wish I didn't have to do that because it fucking kills me every morning. Like, I've gotten into a swing of it now, but I'm glad in her case.
Just get her to do it. She can do it now. She's old enough.
I'm lucky if she bloody well ties her shoelaces. Like, seriously. No, next year now I might start getting her to help me make her lunch. But no, I'm glad because I think it would be too difficult for her to have a lunch in the school at the moment. As a vegetarian, like, or as vegan. I just don't think Ireland is there yet with the schools, with bringing it into schools. We're not there yet with a lot of things to do with school, but that's another issue. Like, it's still very, you know, Catholic based and all that kind of stuff. But like she loves her lunches. She's got lovely healthy lunches and stuff like that. So
that's cool. So as we are near to the end, so I've got one final question for you. So if there's somebody watching that's thinking about going vegan but not quite there yet, I know you probably already mentioned this, but what piece of advice would you give them to help them make the plunge?
Really figure out why why it is you want to do it. And it has to be a personal, it has to be a strength that's coming from somewhere really deep within you, where you know that you believe in veganism, like you believe in it. And that goes from what we were saying. You were a child who loved animals, but you were being not forced, but well, kind of, but there was just meat put in front of you and you had no idea what it was. But you're doing it because you know that this really is what you believe in. Like it really is, from deep down in your heart, not listening to all the vegans are this, vegans are that, it's too hard, it's this and that. What are your deep, real, true feelings about veganism? And about animals. And when you figure that out and you stand behind it, then just go for it. Just go for it. Just absolutely go for it. Don't be scared. There's a lot of fear about, giving up this, giving up that. There's so much like this kind of fear around it, and fear just prevents us from doing things. If you let fear seep in, you can prevent yourself from doing anything, getting up in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So don't just put aside any fear about it and figure out, is this what you really truly believe in, that animals deserve to live? And back yourself up with, read a few hard stuff, watch a few hard things, and get the information to really back yourself up, because you will come against a lot of naysayers and you are going to have to go, well, actually that's not true, or actually, you know what I mean? You do have to have that. So I would say finding your inner vegan, because we all have it. So just finding your inner vegan, aligning your actions with your beliefs, in whatever pace that you want to go. So like you said, you said, I'll eat cheese once in a while. Okay, fine. Don't feel guilty if you fuck up. Get back on it. Just don't feel guilty about that. If you mess up one day because all your friends, you're traveling through the countryside and everyone wants a McDonald's and you have one, don't beat yourself up about it. Start again the next day. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. But just keep in mind why you're doing it, and aligning your actions with your beliefs. That's what you're doing. You've already got the beliefs. Now you're just aligning your actions with your beliefs, and enjoy all the amazing new food that you're going to discover. Just enjoy it. Go into it real positive. Scrap the fear and just go, there's a whole world of amazing stuff waiting for me. And you're going to feel so secure about yourself because you're doing the right thing. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome. Well, thank you.
It's so easy and good. It really is. Go for it.
Love it. So thank you so much, Maeve, for joining me. I've really enjoyed this interview.
Oh, I enjoyed it so much. Sorry, I'm literally in my pajamas.
That's fine. I literally just woke up 10 minutes before this interview. So that's why I've been like yawning throughout the whole, because my body's still waking up. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, you look so summery there. Is it warm?
I mean, in my room it's warm, but it isn't warm outside. It's getting cold outside now, but I just threw on the easiest thing.
Well, you look lovely for someone who just woke up. Seriously, like.
Thanks. I slept well.
Very good.
And if there is anyone watching that would like to get in touch with you, Maeve, how can they get hold of you?
Yeah, you could email me, no problem. I'd be happy to help anyone on their vegan journey. That's actually, you asked me about vegan activism. I've reached out to a lot of people, and I've helped them along their way with giving them advice and recipes and stuff. I think that is animal. I think we just do our little bit, don't we? Like helping someone who's thinking about it in a really nice way. And it's had such a great knock-on effect with loads of people around me, with friends and family, and it's great. It's all happening. But yeah, feel free to email me. I've no issue with that. Shall I give you my email address?
Yes, please.
So Maeve, Maeve .Meleady, MELEADY @gmail.com. And I can be your vegan doula. Ooh.
Love it.
If I have time, no, I'm joking. Yeah, no, I'm happy to help in my imperfect vegan ways.
Love it. Thank you again so much.
It was lovely chatting to you.
You as well, really enjoyed it. And thank you, viewers, for watching. I hope that you've been inspired. And if you would like to get in touch with me, you can find me on Facebook, Vegan Bloomers. You can also feel free to join our community, which is Vegan Bloomers, a Facebook group.
Cool.
I post stuff in there all the time, like awesome foods that I've had, places I've been to that are vegan friendly, like just little bits of education. There's some memes in there. It's not too scary. Every now and then I might post something that's a bit gory, but there's always a trigger warning. So yeah, loads of information.
Trigger warnings are good. Yeah.
And loads of people that will support you in there, because yeah, I think it's really important that we do support each other. That's, you know, community is such a big thing. So yeah, we are here for you. I'm here for you. Maeve is here for you. We're all here for you. Or you can email me to veganbloomers@gmail.com. And if you are a vegan already watching and you'd like to be my next star vegan, then please do get in touch. Find me on Facebook, or you can email me as I mentioned. So
I love hearing people's stories about how they
me too.
I love it.
Me too. That's why I did this, because I was like, right, I need to do some more. And I love connecting with people, and I love hearing people's stories. So yeah, that's the basis of like where this all came from. So yeah, cool. Please do tell me your stories. I don't care how boring you might think it might be, because I've had people say, oh, it's boring. Just get in contact with me. We want you on. We want to hear them all.
No, it's never boring. It's great.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Much love, everyone.
See ya.